The Young and the Restless, spoilers shock, Phyllis's fight against the shadows. Phyllis had pieced together enough of the puzzle to make Ian Ward and Jordan nervous. Her memory of the accident, and the damning realization that they were behind it, had placed a target on her back. For years, Ian had thrived in the shadows, manipulating, scheming, and hiding in a fortress no one dared to breach. But Phyllis's determination to uncover the truth threatened to undo everything. Jordan, always calculating and one step ahead, saw the danger in letting Phyllis roam free. "She's too close," Jordan said, her voice icy but controlled. "If she talks, we're done. We need to handle this, permanently." Ian leaned back in his chair, a sinister smirk playing on his lips. "Leave it to me. I've been doing this for a long time." But Jordan wasn't satisfied. "Not just yet," she insisted. "I've got plans, bigger plans. We take her, yes, but keep her alive until I'm ready to clean up the rest." The night they took her. That night, the hospital was quiet, the halls dimly lit with the sterile glow of fluorescent lights. Phyllis had been restless, her instincts screaming that danger was near. She couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching her. Her fears became reality when the door to her room creaked open, and Ian and Jordan slipped inside. Before she could react, a sharp prick in her arm sent darkness flooding through her. The last thing she saw was Jordan's cold, calculating expression, illuminated by the moonlight streaming through the window. When Phyllis woke, her head throbbed, and the air around her was stifling and stale. She was no longer in her hospital bed. Instead, she was in a small, dimly lit cell, the walls made of cold, unyielding concrete. Panic surged through her as she stumbled to her feet, yelling into the void. "Help! Someone! Let me out!" But there was no response, only silence. The oppressive stillness of the place made her skin crawl. She didn't know where she was, but she knew one thing for sure. Ian and Jordan had done this to her. The family's desperate search. Back at the hospital, Summer and Daniel had arrived to visit their mother, only to find her room empty. At first, they thought she might have gone for a walk or stepped out for tests. But as minutes turned to hours, worry began to gnaw at them. "Something's wrong," Summer said, her voice shaking. "Mom wouldn't just disappear like this." Daniel nodded grimly. "We need to find out what happened." Their worst fears were confirmed when they convinced the hospital staff to check the security footage. The grainy video showed two figures, disguised but unmistakably Ian and Jordan, wheeling Phyllis out of the hospital late at night. Summer's hands trembled as she watched. "We have to find her," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "A fortress in the shadows." The police were alerted immediately, but Ian Ward's hideout was no ordinary location. Hidden deep in an abandoned industrial complex, the place was a fortress, fortified with security measures that had kept Ian off the grid for years. It was a place he had retreated to when the world became too dangerous, a sanctuary where no one could touch him. The police scoured every lead, but the location eluded them. Ian and Jordan had always been experts at covering their tracks, and this time was no different. Phyllis's determination. In her cell, Phyllis's fear slowly gave way to anger. She had always been a fighter, and she wasn't about to let Ian and Jordan win. She examined every inch of her prison, searching for weaknesses. A small vent near the ceiling, a loose bolt in the door. She began to plan her escape, knowing her life depended on it. Her captors weren't far. She could hear their voices occasionally, muffled through the walls. Jordan's was sharp and commanding, Ian's smooth and mocking. They thought they had broken her, but they underestimated her resilience. "I won't let them win," Phyllis whispered to herself, her determination growing stronger with each passing moment. A race against time. Summer and Daniel worked tirelessly with Michael Baldwin and the police to find their mother. As more time passed, their desperation grew. "She's alive," Summer said firmly, as though willing it to be true. "We just have to find her." Meanwhile, Ian and Jordan debated their next move. Ian was growing impatient. "She's too much of a liability," he said. "We should get rid of her now." But Jordan shook her head. "Not yet. I still need time to finalize everything." "She stays. For now." What they didn't realize was that Phyllis was already working on her escape. Every minute she spent in the cell, she grew more determined, more resourceful. She knew her family would be looking for her, but she couldn't wait for a rescue. She had to save herself. The clock is ticking. As the days passed, tension reached a breaking point. Ian grew more paranoid, sensing that the police were closing in. Jordan, meanwhile, juggled her hidden agenda, keeping her true motives under wraps even from Ian. Back at the hospital, a breakthrough came when a technician enhanced the security footage, revealing a faint logo on the back of Ian's van. It was a small lead, but it was enough to narrow down a search area. With time running out, the question loomed large. Would Phyllis escape before Ian and Jordan decided to end her life? Or would her family and the police arrive in time to save her?